My name is Reinhold Heil. I'm a keyboarder, producer, composer, songwriter, singer, musician. And I started in Berlin at 19 years old, so it's a long story. And it starts with my jazz rock band, and I had only a Mini Moog and a Fender Rhodes piano. And in 1977, I joined the Nina Hagen band, and the main instrument there became a CS80. Then Nina Hagen left, and we started Spliff. The Spliff radio show, I had a CP70, I had a Prophet 5. Of course, I still had the CS80. I had a few smaller things like a Yamaha CS30. And then Spliff just kind of dissipated, and I started producing other people's music. Then basically in the 90s, I transitioned into film music. I met Johnny Klimek. He was the one who dragged me out of my slump here in Berlin and introduced me to Tom Tykwer. And this trio of Tykwer, Klimek, and Heil made a whole bunch of film scores throughout the late 90s and into the 2000s and 2010s. Run Lola Run was probably the one that had the most electronic music in it. Perfume, then the International was pretty cool. And Cloud Atlas in 2012. Then I left that trio and have since then worked on TV and movie scores by myself. And now in my old age, I have decided to kind of phase out the film music and write songs again and do instrumental albums and just do music that I very much just enjoy doing. Yeah, because of my advanced age, I am not nostalgic for the vintage synthesizers. They are wonderful. They taught me everything I know. If you want to continue exploring, you have to just go to the new approaches. So I actually really liked going into physical modeling in the 90s. I did a lot of creative sampling. I did a lot of more modern synths and plugins, and because of the film music, the plugins are just much more fast, more reproducible, more practical to get the job done. I love the fact that I can just move forward and the ideas can keep flowing and I don't get stopped by, issues that hardware introduces. There was no agenda. I think it started in 2019. I was still in Los Angeles and the film music jobs thinned out. There was some time and I had a house that had a nice little window with a view and it was comfortable to just sit in that little window. And sometimes I would sit in that window and then start writing lyrics again. So finally I had a bunch of lyrics and they were sometimes English and sometimes German and I thought, well, if I have time, maybe I should just do the music for that and see if I can still sing. And it turned out that the subject matter of the lyrics had this tendency to deal with the new masculinity, which already popped up in the 90s. I have the feeling fascism is kind of coming from that side, Divide and conquer is the motto of the ruling class and especially the fascists. And so I thought, okay, maybe that's the subject of the album. There are some pieces, and we're going to the details of that, where UE plugins, patches with UE plugins are the actual central core of the piece. The opening piece is one of the examples. Starts with the Bazille sound. So this sound is on Bazille. It's probably some kind of preset that I found somewhere and then started modifying, playing around with it. It's monophonic, it's kind of bassy, and it has a pitch envelope on it. Kind of like a drum, so a little bit like resembling an 808 drum or something. And then with the with the mod wheel, it does this. And I just did this very repetitive phrase. And that's basically the whole thing. It goes all the way through the song. It's legato, and then every once in a while it becomes percussive. Schwülstiges Pathos is another one, which is based on a zebra sound with a very specific way of programming the sequencer, and then being able to just play and create a song structure through improvisation. That patch, that pattern, is the main motive. So then there's the chord progression. Like for a breakdown. And then it goes on again. Something like that. So it's like all improvised all the way through. And then, of course, other elements come. It's not as minimalist as the Bro piece with the Bazille, where the Bazille is basically omnipresent and there's hardly anything else going on. So there's some other stuff going on here, but it is definitely the dominating element, and it's also the creative spark for the piece.